All right, so we just start work on this van, start turning it into a livable space. It is going to be a process for sure. And the first thing I gotta do is basically gut this thing right down to the bare metal. We've got paneling on the sides here, right? I think they were drywallers. They built this sort of like makeshift wood shelving thing. We're gonna rip that out. We're gonna see if we can reuse some of that wood as well. And then I've already taken out the cage part, which is right here. That fit in this space here, there you go. But the rest of the bulkhead is still in, so I just gotta get that all out, maybe throw it up on Kijiji, see if anybody has use for it, because I do not. And I definitely wanna be able to go from the driver's seat straight into the living space. So yeah. We're going to, that's the plan for now. It's probably not gonna be one day, if I'm being honest. I'm gonna figure out what types of screws are holding the wood structure down, and we will start with that. Okay, so this just has to be documented. This is why when you buy a used vehicle, the very first thing you should do is go and get a second key cut, because I just locked all of my keys in the van. I don't even know if you could be able to see in there. Probably not, but they're sitting right on top of that wood structure. So, locksmith's on the way. It's one of those things. You buy a used car, immediately go get a second key cut, if it only comes with one key. Oh, buddy. Oh, so that turned into a day. To their credit, the locksmith showed up real quick and he was able to get into the van even quicker. Glad to have access to the van. I got 2 extra keys cut immediately. I actually realized that I got lucky in that sense that it's a 2007 and that was the last year that the Chevy Express was available just your standard key lock. In 2008, they introduced the chip keys, which are far more expensive to replace or like duplicate, right? That just goes to show, like with the whole thing with the lock stay, with me locking the keys in the van, and sure now, that probably won't happen again. I've got 2 extra keys, watch it happen again. But it just goes to show that nothing's gonna go according to plan. And this is proof positive of that. You always gotta be ready to just make changes. I wanted to start gutting the van. I wanted to get that wood out of there. I wanted to get the paneling out. I wanted to get the bulkhead out. None of that happened because dummy right here, right? Just saying, you gotta roll with that because it's gonna happen. And what do they say? You wanna make God laugh, tell him your plans. Kinda true. And now I am back at the apartment and it will actually be the last night that I am in this apartment. Tomorrow night I will officially be moved back in with my parents, which, you know, I'm okay with, honestly. A lot of people are gonna knock that for sure, but I have it available to me. I would be stupid to not, you know, take advantage of that. They're opening their home to me, their hearts to me. Obviously, I'm their kid. I know that's not the situation for lots of people out there, and I'm absolutely lucky, and I appreciate it to no end. So I'm going to be building the van while staying at their house over the summer and sort of getting things back on track. And this whole thing kicked off basically, well, I mean, there's lots of factors. The pandemic, I lost my job, girlfriend and I broke up. So there's a lot to unpack for sure, and that's why we're doing this. So hopefully we get to do the van tomorrow. You'll know far sooner than I will. So have a good night. See you in the next clip. Ooh, she's big, but she'll go. So we're finally gonna get to starting the gutting of this whole thing today. Did I unlock the door? Of course not. So I need to get that fixed right now. I don't know if I showed you, there's no cylinder in there. So that's great. So now what I have to do is I unlock the side door, go in, come out through the back, whatever. I also want to get rid of these roof racks up here, right? So it came with these roof racks. There's actually 3 of them. I've already removed the one that was at the front. And I thought, hey, that'd be good. It already has roof racks because those are kind of expensive. These will be perfect to mount like solar and everything else that I may or may not need on the roof. And I knew they were rusty. So the original plan was I'll just take them off, grind them down, hit them with some Rust-Oleum or something and put them back up. Well, when I took the first one out, a lot of the bolts literally snapped off. They were rusted so bad. and it's just dripping onto the roof, all that rust and junk and guck. So I think I'm just gonna rip these off, toss them, and look into getting like a rhino rack system or something that's, you know, made of aluminum and plastic that's just not gonna rust for how much I plan on being outside, and the van will never be covered. I think having something up there that's not metal that can rust will be much better. So that, hopefully we'll get that done today, but we're going to start with removing, can you see that wood platform. That was a Papa Bear checking in and see what I was doing. So I decided to kind of switch up my tool game. Is that a thing? My tool game? And I think I'm gonna go with Ryobi. I just picked this up yesterday. It's just a powered screwdriver. I thought I was gonna struggle against this, honestly, because I've had some powered screwdrivers in the past before. That, you know, you usually have to start it by hand and then you can the rest of the way. So far, now I haven't taken too much apart yet, but so far it hasn't struggled with any of the screws that were in there. So props to this. We'll definitely be buying some more of these. Okay, so that was easier than I thought it would be, although it got a little obnoxious near the end. For the majority of that entire work of art, it was all Robertson head screws, and then at the end, for whatever reason, they threw in some Phillips there, which would have been the beginning for them when they built it. So maybe they started with Phillips and they ran out. It doesn't matter. It's all down now. Let's see if we can, here. Ooh, that's a good look. Right, so I'm gonna see how much of this I can still use for my actual build. Like these things, what is that, 2x4, 2x6? These would probably work pretty well for like maybe the frame of the bed, but this, I think it's called pressboard. Mike Warman, correct me if I'm wrong. But this stuff, I don't think I'll be reusing it. It's pretty ratty and I'm pretty sure you can't sand it down anyway. So that will probably just end up getting tossed. But you know what, I'm this far along and that didn't take as long as I thought. I think I'm gonna pull all of this scrap out, put it to the side, and I think I'm gonna take the plywood floor off as well so we can actually sweep this thing out. It's feeling really good to get this out of there though, guys, I'll tell you that. All right, let's pull that floor out. So you know what, change of plans. I haven't eaten yet today. It is 12:15. We're gonna change this jacket because what was I thinking, puffer jacket? It was minus 14 degrees Celsius this morning and now the sun is just, hello. So this puffer jacket's a little warm. So we're gonna change this, we're gonna rip to grab a bite to eat, then we'll take that floor out. Yes, gotta come through the passenger door because I actually moved the van, moved it closer to the fence to work on it. And now I can't get in through my driver's door, so that's great. I have also got the remainder of my Tacoma with me. Strap this on. So while we're doing this and going to get something to eat, I figured I'd attempt a little bit of a hybrid situation here with my channel and talk about movies while I'm doing a van life build video. I watched a movie last night on Amazon Prime called Becky. Have you guys seen this movie? It stars, oh, what is her name? It's like Lulu something. I don't know. I'd never heard of her before. And Kevin James and Joel McHale from Community. And Lulu, she plays Becky, right? The title character. And Joel McHale plays her dad. First of all, hang on. Before I get into this, the new structure of my review videos I want to do is I'm probably not gonna do a rating system so much. I just like talking about movies. So instead, and one thing I noticed when I was watching my older videos is that I really like to talk about like intricate details in the movie. And a lot of people are like, well, I guess I don't have to see the movie anymore. I didn't give a proper spoiler warning. So I'll probably put up proper spoiler warnings like going forward on other videos. And what I'll do is at the beginning for like the first under a minute, I will give quick impressions and whether or not I think you should see the movie or not. And that's not going to be a see it because it's good or don't see it because it's bad. It's going to see it and this is why compared to this movie, or just skip it because it's horrible. The problem is I don't think there's a lot of movies. Okay. I'm about to say, I don't think there's a lot of movies worth skipping because I think all movies are great, but that's just not true. You flip through some of the stuff, especially on Amazon Prime Video, there's some movies that I don't even think B-movie does them justice. They're probably a little further down the alphabet, but still, people worked on those movies, and I used to make movies for fun myself, and that was hard enough. So I know that no matter how bad a movie might be, time and effort still went into it, right? So I don't know if I will be saying don't see these movies a lot, but it'll be more like you see it if, you know what I mean? So in terms of Becky, see it if you want to see the star of King of Queens play a neo-Nazi bloodthirsty criminal. What? I know. It's worth it to see Kevin James play this character regardless. Like, I really like Kevin James. I've always found him quite funny. I enjoy his sitcoms. Lulu, Joe McHale, father-daughter. Her mother passed away off-screen before the movie started from cancer. Ooh, those keys are annoying. And she's kind of struggling. Her father has started up this new relationship with this, I guess, African-American lady and her little boy. And they're going out to, I guess, which was their, I want to say like their cabin, their summer cabin. They're going out there for the weekend and they announce to Becky that they're going to get married, which of course, she's a 13-year-old girl. She's having none of that. Kevin James plays a convict. He's in prison at the beginning. He gets put into a He gets put into a prison transport with a couple other felons. And of course, they devise a plan to escape, which they do. They stumble upon our main characters at their little cabin. Off the hop at the beginning, it's quite interesting because it kind of does a parallel between what's happening in the prison yard, which is a whole bunch of people beating the snot out of this one guy, and then it splits and shows similar, but albeit not as violent things happening at Becky's high school, where she's 13, I guess. Well, no junior high. Which is kind of cool. It says, prison, just like school. I actually think life goes a little bit further than that, and high school and school in general never ends. Life's a BS popularity contest till the day you die, unless you do something about it. Anyway, without going into, I'm not going to go beat by beat in the movie. Kevin James and his, group of criminals descend upon their home. They're looking for some key. I don't know if it's ever actually resolved as to what this opens. Kevin James's character alludes to it at one point as to what it can do. But anyway, it's all going on. It's kind of by the books, like, whatever. Becky's hiding. They come in, they take the dad and the mom and the little boy hostage. Becky's in hiding because she was in her room or the attic or something. I didn't think much of it. It wasn't really grabbing my attention, except for when Kevin James was on screen, because he's bald, he's got this huge beard, he's got this swastika tattooed on the back of his head. Like, they straight up neo-Nazi'd him. Is that a thing? They neo-Nazi'd him? So Becky kind of has the upper hand. She knows her way around. She has a radio. She starts taunting Kevin James. Kevin James then in turn tortures her dad to get her to come out and bring her the key. She had found the key he was looking for. She's got it around her neck or whatever. He knows it, so he's torturing her dad. Of course, she breaks down, comes and brings him the key, but then something happens. They run away. He ends up killing her dad. So now she's a orphan. Oh yeah, Kevin James grabs her and she stabs him in the eye with the key, right? It's real gnarly. And so okay, stab in the eye with a key. That's brutal. So he's bleeding profusely. He runs back to the house. She F's off to her little treehouse in the woods. And he comes into the house where his other cronies are. And they're all like, oh God, your eye. He goes into the kitchen. And I think I was just looking like he's just going to bandage himself up because they didn't really show what was going on. He goes in there. One of the other guys in there kind of freaks out. He was eating a snack or something. And Kevin James says, just cut it off. And I'm like, wait, what? And they go over the sink and he's got his eye hanging down by the tendons out of his socket, eyeball and everything, and now we're just into total horror camp, right? Because this is insane. His buddy comes at him with like craft scissors, like little kid craft scissors, trying to cut through it. And Kevin James is like, "What are you doing?" He grabs a knife out of the knife block, puts his head down on the cutting board, holds his own eye out, and just slashes through the tendons. And then he throws his eye into the sink and throws a bandage on. Okay, now I know the kind of movie we're watching. It's not just a buy your book sort of house abduction movie like Funny Games or The Strangers. This is just crazy in-your-face violence, and it does not stop from that point on. And you really gotta separate yourself and suspend your disbelief, because this little 13-year-old girl goes a little nuts. I will say she channels her inner Nicolas Cage quite well, and she decimates all of them in profoundly grotesque ways. And that's really where the entertainment of the movie comes from. It even made me squirm. Like, I love horror movies. I loved horror movies when I was growing up. I guess I kind of got a little softer on them in my adult age. I don't watch them as frequently, but this is just so unrealistic. It's so out there. Like, Kevin James should have passed out, as far as I know. Granted, I've never lost an eye nor cut my own eye off, so I guess I can't accurately say how I would feel. I imagine I would pass out, but I guess he's supposed to be this really tough neo-Nazi. Anyway, with all of that, it is then by the books in terms of what happens, and you can kind of figure out the way it goes. But it was super interesting to see Kevin James do that, because he's bookending this movie with his like Adam Sandler career, and then his new sitcom The Crew, which is like the same comedy as King of Queens that he did in the, what was that, late 90s, early mid 2000s? I can't quite remember. But then he plays this role, and it's just, yeah, that's interesting, loud and obnoxious. I feel like this movie, it needed, like I said, she was channeling her inner Nicolas Cage. This movie needed Nicolas Cage. It felt like it was made for him, at least what he's done lately, which is just this insane, bombastic craziness. An interesting fact, though, and I don't know how this would have changed the movie, if at all, because I think he's quite talented, but originally, Simon Pegg from Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, he was supposed to be playing the role that ultimately Kevin James took, because Simon Pegg had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts. So anyways, yeah, I mean, okay, so I think this movie got a very limited release in theaters. It came out right during the pandemic. Very limited run, and now it's available on Amazon Prime Video for free. It's not even a rental. You can just watch it there if you've got a Prime subscription. I mean, get a bowl of popcorn, maybe have a few drinks. It's one of those movies that you're not really rooting for anybody. You gotta switch off your brain in terms of the disturbing aspect that this is a 13-year-old girl massacring people. But if you just want, like I said, bombastic entertainment, it might be worth the watch. It's not very long. It's like an hour and a half. This movie ain't winning any awards. It's going to get buried real quick. So give it a watch. You might enjoy it. That's my take on Becky. Let's get something to eat. I'm hungry. Popeyes was too busy. So we're going to get, I want to say the next best thing, but this actually would normally be my first choice. We're gonna get us a little taco time.
Hi there.
Hi,
Sorry, can you go to the window, please? Because our box is not working. Thank you.
Did you guys hear that? She says, hi there. I go, hi, can I please get a... And she says, can you go to the window? Because our box isn't working. Okay, lady. Taco time was actually my first job. And I did that job for like, oh my God, my mind's, I want to say 5 years, but I don't know that it was that long. Maybe 3 years, 3 or 4. And it's funny because, you know, when you work at a place that long, especially like a fast food restaurant, you kind of, when you leave, the last thing you ever want is to eat there again, right? But I need to be very clear on this. North American Mexican food, or Americanized Mexican food is my favorite food. Taco Bell is okay, but I think it lives up to the assumption that it really gives you the poops. Ooh, it's our turn. I've got a lot of crap in here. I really need to clean this out already. How is there so much stuff in here already? Messy boy makes a messy man. Thanks, Grandma. I mean, she's not wrong, but she also used to say, the bigger the space, the bigger the mess. So this should be like a moderate mess once I get it built. That was really good. It always is. So good. Okay. You know what? Eating that in here and going to that drive-thru, it just really makes me excited for when I can cook in here. Like, I really enjoy cooking, which I never really used to. I'd say that's taken off in the last year or two for me, but I do. I really enjoy cooking, and I'm really excited to like take on the challenge of cooking some of my signature dishes that I enjoy doing in the van, because obviously you're limited. Everything's very different. I hope nobody's behind me. I miss having a backup camera, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I'm really excited to cook in here and see how I can figure out certain things. Like, one of my favorite dishes that I make is our chicken enchiladas. For the most part, it should be pretty easy, but at the end of the recipe, they go in an oven. They go in the oven. Normally, you make 8 of them at a time, right? And you serve like 4 people. But since I'll just be cooking for myself, I only have to do like 2, so I could probably do an oven sort of situation with a cast iron pan and like one of those cast iron, like not skillets, but like the flat top ones. So we'll see. Stuff like that, I'm really looking forward to sort of figuring out and experimenting with. Okay, well, maybe I'll leave that in there because that was pretty funny. I just did the whole little spiel about the floor and the tripod, and I forgot to take it off time lapse, so that's what that was. Gonna have to get used to it. So anyways, floor's out. It's really gross under there. All this nasty yuck that needs to be just completely swept out. But I gotta give it a once over first, see if I can find maybe a magnet or something to make my life easier, because there's screws and nails and stuff everywhere, and I don't want to be sweeping that out into the alley. I don't really know if that slow-mo shot was worth it. Everything's covered in dust. Anyways, it still needs a lot of work. It is dirty as all get out in here. So I'm gonna sweep this out a little bit more, and then we will get to those roof racks, perhaps? Let's see what comes next. Oh, for me? Perfect. I mean, it wasn't like proper mechanical work on the van, but it's still work. It was dirty work, so I deserve this. Speaking of dirty work, I'm kind of dumb. I have coveralls. I don't know why I didn't put them on, because I'm filthy. Like, I'm covered, and I'm wearing a white shirt. What? How does that make any sense? Anyway, we got everything done today, I think, that I wanted to get done. I was able to also unbolt all of this siding. So we're gonna put all that press board in here, and I think we're just gonna do a dump run tomorrow and get rid of it so it's not plaguing me for the next like 4 months, because if I don't do it tomorrow, that's how long it will take. Yeah, I think that was a pretty good day. We got a lot done for now. Yeah, that was well deserved. All right, you guys, until the next one, be happy, be creative, be weird, and most importantly, just be positive. I'll see you guys next time. I want my child of death. I got a child of death. I got a child of death. And guess what's inside it?